Hey everyone, this is Kim Reineke again. Sorry, the sun's going down, so the lighting's a little off with where I have my computer sitting and videoing me. So it'd be worse if it was behind me. So that's why it looks a little strange and a little off. Anyways, it's Kim Reineke again. I have essential tremors and Parkinson's disease. I was diagnosed in 2019, February 2019, with essential tremors. As I progressively got worse, very quickly, very rapidly. I went from an arm tremor, head and neck, to having to use a walker in less than a year. As I continued to see seven movement disorder specialists trying to get answers. And I continually got worse. My seventh movement disorder specialist is the one that I have right now, and she is wonderful. Anyways, this video is an update. I'm doing monthly videos. Last month, I actually did a video, a couple of them, because I wanted to do my regular monthly video, my video update. And also I had caught a cold, which I was tested for COVID. It was negative. But because of my cold symptoms flaring up, my Parkinson's and essential tremor symptoms flared up due to my cold. So I actually ended up having to use my walker again. That's how bad the symptoms were. But even though it was a very mild cold, I just felt a little cruddy, headache, sore throat, tired. That was it. And yep, big time flare up. So the cold lasted about 10 days. The tremor started the evening that I started feeling a little yucky. And I actually did my video. And when I started tremoring, I did my video that first evening to show you that my tremors had come back. I was taking just Tylenol because it was a Friday evening. I couldn't get in touch with my doctor to see what I could take. I called my pharmacy on Sunday. They have a record of all the medications that I take, asked them what I could take over the counter. And they suggested Mucinex. The pharmacist suggested Mucinex, which I've taken many, many times before. My doctor has actually prescribed it when I've had sinus issues before, which that's what all this was sinus issues. And that's when I saw my tremors get progressively worse. I contacted my neurologist, let her know what was going on. And she said, yeah, my tremors and my symptoms, as they were getting worse and worse. She said it's not only because of my cold or my sinus issues, but also it could be the Mucinex could have contributed to it and made it worse. So after I had heard from her, I discontinued the Mucinex. So the only thing I can take now seems as though it's just my Tylenol. So, so just to let all of you know that suffer from the same diseases that I do, speak to your neurologist, email them, call them, whatever you need to do once you start feeling sick. And of course, once you get tested for COVID, ask them what you could take to help with your symptoms from being sick. Because, as I stated, the Mucinex actually made my tremors worse. That's when I ended up having to pull out my walker again. So I discontinued the Mucinex the last probably 4 days that I was sick, after I'd heard from my neurologist, and just took the Tylenol. And yeah, my tremors got much, much better. They slowed down to almost a complete halt. So yeah, the Mucinex contributed. So just to let you know, this is what I recommend. This is what I experienced. This is what I recommend. Call your neurologist as well as your primary care, if you are sick, and just let them know. Ask your neurologist what you can take over the counter, or um, once you've spoken to your primary care, because that's the first person you need to speak to is your primary care, so that he can get a COVID test ordered for you. And then also contact your neurologist and see what you can take that's over the counter. If there is anything that you can take over the counter, there may not be. It may only be Tylenol. So anyways, this video I wanted to talk about because I have been struggling for the last month with the unseen symptoms of our diseases. When we're tremoring, or we have dyskinesia, or we're have a shuffle in our gait, which right now, I've been very fortunate. The medication, I've changed my diet completely. I found a physical therapist that is certified in treating Parkinson's patients. All of that has gotten my body, my physical symptoms, more under control, almost completely under control. But like I said, what I just experienced with my cold, that my symptoms flared up. And stress can do that. Any trauma to your body, any sickness, anxiety, anything can do that. As I was saying, the last month, I've been struggling with the unseen symptoms, which I struggled with before my diagnosis, and it was a really bad struggle. And that is the anxiety, depression, those things. Those are the unseen symptoms. I had actually watched another YouTube video, and it is from a organization that is called #United for Parkinsons. And so they are on Instagram. You can follow them on Instagram as well. But the young lady that they had on this particular video that I had watched, she had young onset Parkinson's. She was maybe in her late 20s, early 30s, early to mid 30s. I want to say it was around the same age that Michael J. Fox was diagnosed. So one thing that she described perfectly, it made complete sense to me, was how Parkinson's affects our lives. She said it's like a kaleidoscope. So even though our physical symptoms may not be flaring up at that moment or that day or that hour, whatever it may be, we still struggle with the other symptoms that affect our brain. It's not only the dopamine levels that get affected with Parkinson's, it's our serotonin levels as well. So we struggle. Our entire bodies are controlled by our brains. So when the serotonin, which controls your emotions, and your memory as well, that part of Parkinson's I was not aware of until I was diagnosed. Then it all made sense. I had struggled with bouts of depression earlier in my life, I was in my late 20s. I had really bad PMS. That was my first time I was ever put on any type of antidepressant. I've been on and off a couple of, well, I'd say probably about 4 times in my life, where I've struggled so badly with depression where I've had to be put on an antidepressant. And it would be for a year or two, and then I'd go off of it. And then I'd be off of it for a few years, and then something would happen, an occurrence, something that was stressful, in my life that had occurred, a divorce, which that, of course, will affect you in your mental health and your well-being, your emotional well-being. So that, like I mentioned, I'm going to try to move around here. Stop it. Okay, there we go. That's a bit better. So because Parkinson's does affect our dopamine, that controls our movements, and serotonin levels, which controls our emotions. The emotional part of it has been a really rough struggle for me, and it is for many of people with Parkinson's, if not all. At some point in time, it is a struggle. Over the last month, I have noticed I have had more temper flare-ups that have occurred more often. I've had bouts of crying more often, and I've been on an antidepressant for, I think, since the beginning of this year, or middle. It was before I was diagnosed. Right before I was diagnosed. I want to say it was probably April or May. So I was started on a low dose of doxepin. And actually, I was started on a very high dose of doxepin, 50 milligrams. So that actually made me sleep for hours upon hours. So we had to back that off, start at 10 milligrams, and then work our way up. So we started at the 10 milligrams. That helped. My anger was the biggest thing that was an issue at that time. I had massive bouts of anger that I could not control. So, and I was actually physically harming myself by pounding on things, because that's how angered and enraged I would get, and I had no control over it. It was just so frustrating because I had no control over it. I had no control over my body at the time. I had no control over my brain, any part of my brain, any of my emotions. So eventually we got it under control. I have been on 50 milligrams. We finally got it back up to 50 milligrams of the doxepin. And over the last month, I had noticed, as I mentioned, my temper flaring up a little bit, and I've been getting a little snippy, and it's been building up more and more as the weeks have gone by. And I've had bouts of crying again, more frequent. I had been doing so well for so long. And so as I noticed this happening and it was getting worse, I contacted my doctor immediately. He actually suggested, because I could tell that my anxiety levels were building up as well at certain times during the day. So he had actually, before he wanted to adjust anything with my antidepressant, he suggested to up my dosage on my Valium, which I take as needed to control my anxiety, which is what also kicks in and causes me to lose my temper and not be able to calm it down like the normal person, or a person without Parkinson's, I should say, and essential tremors. Physical therapists had described it like this: when a person that does not have essential tremors or Parkinson's, when they are at a stress or an anxiety level at, uh, of 10, that 10 to a person that has essential tremors or Parkinson's is a 100. So that's how our brains work. Exercise can help, yoga, meditation can help, but for someone like me, I have a very, very hard struggle with it. And a lot of people actually end up getting diagnosed with bipolar disorder or manic depressive disorder. Um, and it's part of our Parkinson's that can just trigger that can add even more to it. So this is why I talk about this. Unless you are suffering, it's so hard unless you have the diseases that I'm talking about. It's so hard for our loved ones and our friends to understand what we are challenged with, that we can't control what comes out of our mouth sometimes. We can't control our temper being so severely bad. You just want to bang on the walls or just hit something because all you see is red, and it takes hours or days for that to calm down. And that is so frustrating, especially when that is not in your personality. That was never in your personality before you were diagnosed or before you started showing signs of your disease. So it's very, very frustrating. My god sister, whom I love dearly and has done so much for me and my family, she's my god sister. And my best friend, my very best friend, they've seen me pre-diagnosis, how crazy I was. They still have a hard time understanding that me getting snippy, me losing my memory, which I actually had the cognitive memory testing done with a neuropsychiatrist, which shows that I have moderate signs of long-term memory loss. So those types of symptoms, people don't see. When they don't see it, when they see you doing physically so well, they forget that we still have the symptoms on the inside. That crazy person is still in there. Our head is still in there. That crazy person's still in there. But if we're on medication, the antidepressants, that helps calm that crazy person that's in there. They don't see it on the outside. And so we'll snip and snap every once in a while, and they'll forget, and they'll get mad at us for snipping and snapping at them. But we can't help it. At least I can't. If my medication is not working properly and I don't realize it, which thank God I did realize it. And even my doctor told me that. He said, at least you caught it when you did. And you're realizing the changes that's going on in your body and in your brain. I did realize it. And I knew some adjustments had to be made with my medications, with my antidepressant and anti-anxiety medication. So that's what was done. Now it still takes time for the medication to kick in. Unfortunately, it generally takes anywhere between a week to 14 days for it to kick in. So he added Paxil to my Doxepin, 10 milligrams. And that was on this past Friday. So that was 4 days ago, 5 days ago, 4 days ago, I think. Yeah, 4 days ago. So I started it that evening. Well, I still, because it takes a while for it to actually take effect in your body. I had a breakdown. I had a anxiety attack, and my tremors flared up, just a full on flare up of tremors. I kept on trying to keep my anxiety level down, but I could feel it boiling in my body. I was actually in the shower and I could feel it just keep boiling and boiling and boiling. So when I got out of the shower, I actually took um, 2 of my Valium, and it still didn't kick in. So I ended up 4 hours later taking 2 more Valiums. It took a good probably 7 hours before my body started calming down. But yeah, it was full on anxiety, tremors, going, everything. So I wanted to share this with everyone so that you know that you're not the only one out there that struggles with this. This is an ongoing, lifelong struggle when you have Parkinson's and when you have essential tremors, because these are neurological diseases. They are not just the what most people think of Parkinson's, and even a lot of doctors, neurologists at that, are old school in thinking that these diseases are the geriatric person that is sitting in the corner just shaking. They think that that's all it is. I thought that that's all it was until I was diagnosed. I had no clue. I had knew nothing, never heard of essential tremors. All I knew about Parkinson's was watching Michael J. Fox and having his dyskinesia. So that's all I knew about it. Oh, and the issues with your gait and your shuffling. That's all I knew. I didn't know how it affected you mentally, how diet and exercise could help extend a healthier lifestyle to keep your symptoms at bay. I went to a non-animal protein diet. So I eat a lot of fish. I eat soy, tofu, and I do eat eggs, and a ton of vegetables and fruit. I do eat a little bit of animal protein, usually on pizza once or twice a month, because it's such a minute amount of animal protein that's on there. So that's my treat. That's what I do. What happens with animal protein is it actually depletes your dopamine levels even more. That's why Michael J. Fox actually suggests, and he has done this, has been on a total vegetarian diet since his diagnosis. And that has helped extend keep his symptoms at bay longer and keep him healthier longer. And he exercises daily as well. I do the same thing. I exercise 5 days a week. I walk, I do my physical therapy exercises, and I started with rock steady boxing twice a week. So the diet and the exercise are really key to helping keep your symptoms at bay. Or even if your symptoms are even full on, which if you look at my old videos, you can see I was in full on Parkinson's mode. And that was even before I got diagnosed. So I was in a walker. I couldn't barely talk. You couldn't understand me. My speech was slurred. I was tremoring all the time and all of that. My memory was shot. My vision was getting bad. It was just worse and worse. But once we started with once we found the optimum level of my carbidopa levodopa, and I started with I also had some back issues that had to be addressed. So they were addressed. So as long because that actually triggered my symptoms even more. That was a huge trigger for my symptoms. So, because like I said, any stress or trauma to your body can cause a full-on flare-up. So once we got all of that under control and I started with a cleaner diet, no animal protein diet, and started with my physical therapy with my certified Parkinson's physical therapist, I came back to life. I came back to life. Now, it's day to day. Like I tell you in my previous videos, it is day to day. Because some days you feel crappy. Like I said the other day, I was in full on, it was 2 days ago, I was in full on anxiety attack and my tremors started back and it was bad. It was a bad day. I knew it was a bad day when I woke up that morning. I felt just off, completely off, to the point where I just walked. I didn't exercise. I didn't do my regular exercises. So I knew it was going to be a bad day. And it just progressively got worse. So it's day to day. And it's hard because for me, having a routine, a steady routine, keeps my anxiety level at a manageable range. Well, this past week, my routine was askew because, for one thing, I started the Rock Steady classes. And another thing, my god sister was in town. She was with me 24/7. I'm not used to that. I'm used to having the house to myself and having the house quiet all day. I can't multitask anymore. It sets my anxiety off tremendously and my stress levels. If somebody tries to talk to me while I'm trying to do something, I have to focus on one thing and one thing only in order to complete it. And if somebody comes in and tries to talk to me while I'm doing something, like if I'm typing something on the computer, somebody tries to come in and talk to me, I have to tell them to shut up and let me finish what I'm doing. I don't say it like that, but I have to say, let me finish this because I can't do two things at once. So we also were, because I had to move in to my mother's home when my symptoms had started. And so we have two households. I have all my crap from my household, plus my mother has her stuff. I have no furniture, but I had boxes because I still intended on, when I got better, moving out. Well, my reality is I probably won't ever be able to live by myself again. So if I ever do move out, I would have to have a roommate or a significant other. um, because if I do have a flare up, I can't take care of myself. So again, my routine was thrown off, and all week long we were working on trying to organize my stuff and get rid of, go through the boxes, get rid of things, see what we were going to sell, see what I wanted to keep, and then organizing them in a way so that my mother's house wasn't so cluttered, because it is. Two households in one house. Yeah, you're going to be cluttered. So my complete routine was thrown off, including the way that I ate. So that, I'm sure, had played a significant role in me having my little flare up and breakdown 2 days ago, because I was done. I was so done. I was ready to have the house to myself again, to go back to my normal routine, go back to my normal eating, all of that. Routine is so important when it comes to controlling our symptoms. Now, when it comes to exercising and things like that, in the Rock Steady class and in physical therapy, we do want to we are trying to retrain our brains from the physical effects of our bodies. So yeah, they tell you to do an exercise one way and then tell you to do it again in another way. They're trying to retrain your brain when they're doing that. But other than that, the way that we live our lives, a routine that we have, that we put in place, exercising every day, eating at certain times every day, taking our meds at the right times every day, things like that are so very, very important. They play such a huge part in keeping our symptoms at bay. I'm not saying you can't go on vacation and have a good time. It's just you need to make the adjustments and make the plan. You need to plan on making the adjustments that are necessary to keep a routine of your meds, your exercise, and your eating habits in order to enjoy your vacation and not have a flare up during your vacation. So that's what I've learned so far. And that's what I want to share with everybody, my experience, so that you don't feel alone, even though there are days I feel alone. And I reach out to people. I have an actual local Parkinson's support group. Although we're not meeting right now because of COVID, they are talking about doing Zoom meetings. But also with my Rock Steady, we're doing that through Zoom as well. Or you can choose to do it in the gym. I choose to do it through Zoom because I had a COVID scare last month, and I didn't want to take the chance of going through that again. So I chose to do the Zoom. And even on the Zoom, there's 5-6 other Rock Steady people that have Parkinson's that are on the Zoom call while we're doing our exercises, and we can see each other and talk to each other. So that helps. That helps with the support. I have a therapist that I talk to every week. If it gets bad, I talk to her twice a week. That you need to find some way to get some support in order to vent. The Facebook Parkinson group web support groups are fantastic because we can vent on there. But sometimes we want someone to actually talk to on the phone or do FaceTime with that can understand. So what I always do, or I try to do, is tell people, hey, and what I'm doing right now, uh, the people I communicate with, whether it's my local support group or the Facebook support group or the people that I'm talking to or that I do my Zoom rock study class with, anybody that is suffering like we are, like I am, that has essential tremors, has Parkinson's, you need someone that can understand what you're going through. Reach out to me. Feel free to make a comment. Feel free to look me up on Facebook. Reach out to me, send me a message. We can start communicating. I actually am pen pals via email with a few people that have actually subscribed and followed my videos. And it's been great for me, and I hope it's been for them. They say it has been. We need each other. We need to support each other. And always know that we are warriors. Don't feel like you're not. You're going to have bad days. I have bad days. I had a bad day, a really bad day 2 days ago. So remember that. And please, please, please share when you find videos like this and you come across them and people are sharing their lives and their fight against these diseases. Share them, like them, and share them, because that's the only way we're going to be able to spread awareness to other people that have the disease and help them, for one thing, but also spread the awareness to those who don't know anything about the disease, that don't know enough about the disease, to your family members, to your friends that are having a hard time understanding what you're going through. Let them know that there's other people out there that are going through the same crap that you are, or similar to it, that you're not the one that they think is crazy, because they do. When you first start going through all this, they think that you're crazy and you're losing your mind. The first 6 neurologists or movement disorder specialists I saw said it was psychosomatic. Never did any tests. Psychosomatic, that it was all in my head, that the stress and anxiety and depression was doing this to me. No, it wasn't. The 7th movement disorder specialist that I saw, it took 7. She listened to me. She ran the tests. And yes, she found and confirmed with testing that I had Parkinson's. It wasn't just having me do movements and, watch me walk. She didn't do just that. She actually ran tests. The other 6 didn't do that. That's all they did. They had me come into their office. They had me do all kinds of touching my nose, touching, their fingers, and watching me walk. And that's all they did. No testing involved at all whatsoever. And they all said it was psychosomatic or due to my depression and stress and anxiety. So my movement disorder specialist was the only one that actually listened. So if you're going through the same struggles and you're getting worse and worse and worse, progressively worse, like I did, and nobody's listening, your doctors aren't listening to you, your family's not listening to you, keep fighting, keep pushing until you do find someone that does listen to you. And also find a good therapist. Anyways, I've already gone on too long. I just wanted to talk about that, and also let you know that I support the Michael J. Fox Foundation. I also support the Davis Finney Foundation. I follow both of them very closely. I watch the webinars, um, all of that. The one great thing that the Finney Fox or the Davis Finney Foundation, which Davis Finney actually is similar to Michael J. Fox, except for he was an athlete. He was a world-renowned athlete, a cyclist, triathlons, and he had early onset Parkinson's as well. So he had started his foundation. They actually, since they do regular webinars, they've been doing that for years. But since COVID started and they were not able to do as many face-to-face meetings and things like that with the researchers and other doctors and ambassadors that they have that work closely with them. They weren't able to do the meetings and things like that. So they have been doing Zoom webinars on a regular basis, and they post them on YouTube as well. So if you just type in on YouTube, Davis Finney Foundation, there's going to be a ton of videos that have been done recently. A lot of them talk about the non-motor symptoms, what I talked about today, of Parkinson's. The Davis Finney Foundation, it's Davis, Davis, and Finney is spelled with Phinney, and Davis Finney Foundation. So if you just type them into YouTube, type that into YouTube, you'll find the channel and you'll find so many videos. They talk to not only psychiatrists, psychologists, movement disorder specialists, professors. They talk to Parkinson's patients, ambassadors that with their foundation that either have Parkinson's, they volunteer, they either have Parkinson's or they're Parkinson's caregivers. So you can get a full on, a full 360 view from everyone, from the patient to the doctors, the psychiatrists, psychologists, all of it, to the caregivers. You can get the view and what they see, what they've experienced, the research that's been done, things like that, the most updated research. So please type that in. Also, Michael J. Fox Foundation, huge. They are number one in raising dollars and doing research and finding new medications. Michael J. Fox has done a phenomenal job. He is a public face, so more people know him than Davis Finney. I never heard of Davis Finney before. My brother had to tell me who he was when he was doing the research for Parkinson's. So, but Davis Finney Foundation is fantastic as well. They're just not as public as Michael J. Fox Foundation, because Michael J. Fox is the public face. Everybody knows him. And like I said, they have done a phenomenal job. They are number one in raising dollars, awareness, and research than any other foundation for Parkinson's in the world. Davis Finney, I just love the fact that they have been through this whole COVID situation. They have been posting all of their Zoom meetings and webinars on YouTube so that we can see them, even if we have not been a part of the webinars. which you can be. You can sign up to do that, and they can email you and let you know. Same with Michael J. Fox Foundation. I get emails from their foundation whenever they are doing any webinars so that I can actually sign up and register to participate in the webinars. And they actually let you ask questions to whoever their guest speaker is. So check out both of those. And essential tremors, unfortunately, there's not as much research and knowledge about essential tremors. That is horrible because I was initially diagnosed with essential tremors. I went through over a year and a half with thinking it was just essential tremors. And I was just going to continue to get worse. Now, both diseases are progressive diseases, but I went through over 25 different medications trying to control my essential tremors when my Parkinson's medicine has been able to control it. Thank God. So essential tremors needs a lot more awareness, a lot more research to be done. Get onto the clinical studies. Find the ones for essential tremors and Parkinson's. Just go to, I think it's clinicaltrials.gov, and you will find so many clinical trials that you could sign up for that are either upcoming or are currently existing. So that's another one you can do. Anyways, I've gone on long enough. I think I've done about an hour, which I usually try to keep it about 30 minutes. So again, like, subscribe, and above all, share these videos to spread the awareness for both diseases, please. And contact me through Facebook or comment. Send me a comment. I'd be happy to private message you or email you, and we can connect and we can talk. I'd be more than happy to do that. So thank you again. And I'm amazed at how many people have subscribed and watched my videos. And I'm so glad because, again, I want to spread the awareness. And I know you do too. So please take care. And God bless, and praying for all of us warriors. I will see you soon.